Tonight's forecast, mostly clear skies overnight. Look for a low of 59. Now for tomorrow, we warm up to 87 as our high with more clouds and sunshine. Look for the upper 80s as our high temps the rest of the week with our best chance of rain coming Thursday or Friday, about a 40% chance of a shower. I'm Kevin Cohn with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Come on, hit it. Do it. You know you want to.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on sportstalksc.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome into Sports Talk here on Sports Media Network on this Monday night, Memorial Day night of 2020. Hope you've had a really nice weekend and enjoying your vacation. And what's the problem? I'm hearing something ringing, but that's okay. We'll keep moving forward. Hope you had a great weekend and enjoying your holiday as best you can. Good to have you with us. We are live here on Sports Talk from Columbia and also from down in the PD. Chris Bergen is there. Pat Daniel is here as well. If you want to join us, 888-898-2525, phone number. 888-898-2. Oh, we have found the culprit, huh? 888-898-2525 is how you can reach us. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. Of course, today is the day that the NCAA baseball tournament field was announced. 64 teams. Of course, you knew last night South Carolina was going to be in it because the Gamecocks were named a host. They're a number 2 seed for their region. Going to talk about all that and go over the field with you in just a moment. Mark Kingston, USC coach, will be joining us at 6:35. Elton Pollock, head coach at Presbyterian. You know, Chris, if we had said back in, let's say late February, early March, if I had said to you, Chris, I got a feeling South Carolina and Presbyterian would be the only teams from South Carolina to make it to the NCAA tournament. Go to Vegas and put some money on that. You and I would be sitting in pretty good shape tonight, I would say.
Phil, I would have asked you for that night's South Carolina Education Lottery numbers because there is no way you could have easily perceived and predicted that South Carolina would have gotten into the tournament. They're a mainstay in the NCAA tournament, but PC has never been there before. They had to go through and win the Big South tournament and played extremely good baseball. And the NCAA has done a really nice job of setting up some outstanding storylines across the board in the tournament. We'll focus on the ones that matter here in South Carolina. Get to the Gamecocks in Virginia because I think that is a terrific first-round matchup set for Friday afternoon. But how about this? BC's baseball program went away for a long, long time. It was reinstituted in the late 1980s. The head coach at that time was Tim Corbin, who is now the head coach at Vanderbilt. He is going up against his former school, the first trip they've ever made to the NCAA tournament against his former player in Elton Pollock. You can't script this stuff. And it's been an interesting couple of months up in Clinton for PC, hasn't it?
Well, I tell you what, they're making news in a lot of different ways, but congratulations to them. You know, unfortunately, every coach we talked to last week,
I know,
lost. North Greenville went down. Wofford went down. Florence Darlington Tech went down. Bobby Harton, the big kahuna down in Charleston, you know, he's a huge Gamecock. He knows we're live tonight. He knows we're going to have Mark Kingston. He begged me not to have Mark Kingston on tonight. He said, whatever you do, don't have Mark Kingston. He said if Kingston doesn't show up, you'll know why, that he got to him and convinced him not to join us tonight. No, this will be it's going to be a test for the Gamecocks in more ways than the Sports Talk curse, because the regional they are in, of course, Virginia has gotten kind of hot here down the stretch. They made it to the semifinals of the ACC. They've got a very good pitcher that they'll throw at the Gamecocks, no doubt. And then you've got Old Dominion, which is an 11th ranked team in the bracket, the number 11 seed nationally, and they won their league, and they lead the country in home runs with 101, a team batting average of 311, I think it is, or 301, 311. I think it's 311. They fielded well. ERA is over 4 as a team, but they've got some guys that can, looking at their numbers, who can throw hard and get strikeouts. But the thing that jumped out at me, lead the country with 101 home runs. And I mean, look, if the wind is blowing out at Founders Park, that ball will travel. And we know South Carolina's a team that relies on a lot of power as well. The Gamecocks aren't anywhere near 100 home runs as a team. They might have the nation's number 1 home run man in Clark, but as a lineup, you look at their lineup, Chris, up and down that lineup from ODU, you see guys with double-figure home run totals.
They're a scary bunch. There's no doubt about that. It's somewhat a shame that they couldn't host, because I think this is a year where they deserve to have that opportunity to host. The only outlier in the Columbia Regional is Jacksonville. They are one of those teams that took full advantage of being in a league where the conference tournament is so important. Though I will say this, I give the committee some credit that they did not ignore Liberty out of the ASUN, who won the regular season championship, and they're in the tournament as well. But Jacksonville, how do you go through a month where you win one game and you ultimately end up in the NCAA tournament? It's crazy sometimes how these formats work out. I don't think Jacksonville will be around in Columbia very long, but I could easily see the other 3 teams winning the Columbia Regional. I think it is a very, very competitive one. And the storyline there is South Carolina and Virginia getting back together for the first time since they played that epic game in the 2011 College World Series. Phil, may have been one of the best College World Series games I've ever seen. Went extra innings before the Gamecocks won, and Matt Price introduced himself, I think, to the world in that matchup. Was just outstanding, getting out of bases loaded jams in the 10th, 11th, and 12th innings, I think, before the Gamecocks finally won. So this ought to be a lot of fun at Founders Park this weekend for sure.
If I'm not mistaken, I was at that game. I'm not mistaken about that. I was at that game, and the Gamecocks were getting handled by whoever the starting pitcher was for Virginia, who was outstanding. They couldn't touch him. I have to go back and look at the box score, but he got sick in around the 4th or 5th inning and had to come out. And that changed everything in that game. I believe that's the game I'm thinking about. And that's right. That allowed South Carolina to go on and win its 2nd straight national championship in 2011. So, yeah, there's some history there between these two teams. Virginia has had a great run over the last 10, 15 years with its baseball program. They were kind of left for dead this year. They were struggling there for much of the season, but kind of got things together down the stretch, and they'll be a formidable foe for the Gamecocks. Here's the thing about South Carolina baseball, this team. Of the top 16 seeds, the Gamecocks have played 21 games against teams in the top 16. You look at the top 4 seeds, and South Carolina played all of them. Top 4 seeds are Arkansas, Texas, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. That's 15 games against the top 4 seeds. Then they played Mississippi State, which is a 7 seed. They played Ole Miss, which is the 12 seed. They played Florida, 15 seed. Nobody can make that claim. Now, Gamecocks lost a series to Arkansas, lost a series to Texas, lost a series to Tennessee, lost a series to Vanderbilt, lost a series to Mississippi State, lost a series to Ole Miss. They did sweep Florida. So the point is, it's great to play them and great to play them tough, but you got to win. And this Gamecock baseball team, when they've played the best teams on their schedule, they just haven't had enough. They haven't had enough combination of good enough pitching and enough offense, especially in the early innings. These teams would score early on the Gamecocks, and they could not recover. You go back and look at the play-by-play of those games. That's something they've got to my point is, they've played the toughest teams in the country. I don't know if ODU matches up with any of those teams that they've already played, but they're definitely not going to see anybody any better. And if they win their region, they're going to play the winner from the TCU region. And obviously TCU is very good. They won their conference tournament, but they're not going to face anybody any better than what they've already played pretty much week in and week out.
And did television do the Gamecocks a favor, Phil? Because you and I were chatting beforehand. We felt like, all right, South Carolina, the host, but they're the 2 seed. Will they try and work it so they get the night game because they want the big crowd against Virginia? Well, ESPN said, nope, we're going to step in. We're going to put USC and Virginia on at 12 noon on Friday afternoon on ESPN2. We talked earlier this season, one of the quirks of the year for the Gamecocks is their inability to hit the baseball at night and how much better they have hit it during the day. If they end up playing the majority of their games in this regional during the daytime, that might actually work out well for them.
Yeah, 12 o'clock, first pitch for Gamecocks and Virginia. Jacksonville, ODU will play the night game. So that means I believe every number 1 seed is playing in the night game there on ESPN. Kingston said they thought they were going to be playing the night game when all this was being put together. But then television, he said, wanted South Carolina, Virginia for the ESPN2. Keep in mind now, a lot of those night games will be streamed only, or ESPN3. So ESPN2 wanted a primo game for their 12 o'clock slot. And so they put South Carolina and Virginia in there. Yeah. So you know what? You roll with the punches. You win that game, you're going to get to play in the prime time slot in your own field at some point. So just got to take care of your own business. Our poll question of the week, brand new up on our website, sportstalksc.com, on Twitter at sportstalksc. Just went up a couple of hours ago. Will the Gamecocks win their baseball regional? 116 votes are in already. 55.2% say yes. 44.8% say no. And Chris, your vote would be what?
I say yes. I think, and I buy into what you said a few minutes ago about South Carolina is as battle tested as any team in the 60-14 field. No one has played a better schedule. No one has been more challenged. Now, again, yes, you should also have to win some of those games to count for your strength of schedule. But they're not going to see frontline pitchers like Kumar Rocker or, Jack Leiter or anybody else you can throw out there, the Arkansas staff. They're not going to see anything close to that, I wouldn't think, this weekend, even though the Abbott kid from Virginia is not going to be a bad guy to run out there for the Cavaliers on Friday. 8-5 on the year with a 2.63 ERA. And the one concern you got to have if you're a Carolina fan about that game, 136 strikeouts he has tossed thus far this season in 89 innings of work. And the Gamecocks have a propensity to put up the volume of strikeouts. But I think South Carolina, I don't know that they breeze through this region, but being at home, I think it's a very winnable region for them. And I think they ultimately come out of there and head to TCU.
Yeah, I think it comes down to who's got the best. Yeah, and you mentioned, great pitcher for Virginia, but South Carolina will throw a Brett Carey out there or somebody equally good. It's going to come down to your third and fourth pitchers. And this is where the Gamecocks will miss Mahoney, who could have filled that spot very nicely. Now, I don't know about the pitching depth of the others. Who's got that really good third, fourth pitcher and a deep enough bullpen? Because as we all know, as a regional, unless you happen to run through it in 3 straight games, which could happen, you start getting into the deeper part of the regional, especially if you've taken a loss and have to come back through the losers bracket. The depth of your pitching gets tested severely. Pat, what you got?
Just back to what Chris was mentioning a few moments ago with that 2011 College World Series when the Gamecocks and Hoos faced off. Then you were thinking of Danny Holtzen. He was their star pitcher who was then the number 2 overall draft pick in that year's Major League Baseball draft. Went 12-3 that year with a 1.37 ERA. And he pitched in their opening round win, but then did not pitch when South Carolina beat them. But then when they had to come out and face in the losers bracket, they had to beat South Carolina twice to advance to the championship. Holtzen came out and pitched. He struck out 8 of the first 9 batters he faced.
Got sick
in the first 3. That's right. And then he got sick and was removed from the game in the 4th. And then, of course, the game kind of went on from there.
Couldn't touch him.
They could not.
They could not touch him. I was there. I remember one of the Gamecock water boys going over there and handing him a bottle of water between innings, being a nice guy trying to assist. And then he suddenly became, deathly ill. Not saying it was laced with anything. I'm kidding about that. I would never suspect that. Mark Kingston coming up at the bottom of the hour here on Sports Talk, the Gamecocks coach. Looking forward to talking with him. Elton Pollock, coach at Presbyterian. Had no expectations of talking Presbyterian baseball here in the end of May, but we are. And you know what? They'll carry the flag to Nashville very high and very proudly. We got that coming your way and a whole bunch more. Plenty of recruiting. You know what tomorrow is? Oh, I've been dreading it. It's the start of the live period in recruiting. We'll be back.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Life. It has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
Enjoy life to the fullest with tasty peanuts that pack a lot of flavor. When it comes to eating peanuts, the research is clear. Peanuts improve your health. Peanuts, a snack that gives back. Crack some open today for a nutritious, sustainable, and earth-friendly treat. Be sure to stop by your local grocery store produce section to pick up a bag of roasted in-shell peanuts. Brought to you by the South Carolina Peanut Board. Visit aboutpeanuts.com for delicious peanut-based recipes.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network. The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Player practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
Hey folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history, and with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo. 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
No air balls, no bricks, nothing but net with Founders Federal Credit Union. Our full-service line of financial products gives you all the tools you need for financial success. And you'll love being with us as much as we love serving you. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 locations to see if you qualify for membership with Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax with Founders. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
We are back here with you on Sports Talk on this Monday night. We are live. It's a holiday, but your boys at Sports Talk, you know what they're doing. They're not relaxing by the pool, sipping a PBR, eating potato chips. No, sir. Hard at work for you on this day of the NCAA baseball tournament. Mark Kingston coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Elton Pollock after 7 o'clock. We're talking about their teams heading to postseason play. Our phone number, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. I bet you didn't know since 2002, more than $160 million in lottery proceeds have been used to fund South Carolina Hope scholarships for the state's college-bound students. Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at seducationlottery.com/educationwins. Playing for fun is a win for education. So let's go over the field real quick in case you weren't paying attention today at noon as it was being announced. Your national top 8 seeds: Arkansas, Texas, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Arizona, TCU, Mississippi State, and Texas Tech. So those are the top 8. Arkansas has New Jersey Institute of Technology. Also, Northeastern and Nebraska. Nebraska's is number 2. That region is paired with Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech's got Rider, and then NC State and Alabama. You see, that's the thing about South Carolina I was talking about. The Gamecocks played all those great teams, but then they go play Alabama in the SEC tournament and just get handled.
Mm-hmm.
That's what puzzles me about this team. Stanford hosting has got North Dakota State, has got UC Irvine and Nevada paired with the Texas Tech regional. You got Army going there to play Texas Tech. North Carolina, some thought North Carolina would be in Columbia. Nope, it would be out there to play UCLA. Then you've got the Arizona regional. Wildcats will play Grand Canyon. Then it's Oklahoma State and UC Santa Barbara. Oklahoma State, one of those in the RPI ahead of South Carolina that was not going to be a host. So you had to figure they were going to end up obviously going on the road somewhere. I was just thinking last night and looking over things, could Oklahoma State end up in Columbia? Last time they came to Columbia, it was not good for the Gamecocks or for Clemson, for that matter. They first went through Clemson and then came to Columbia. They'll be matched up with the winner out of Oxford. That's Ole Miss going to play Southeast Missouri State. And then you've got Southern Miss and Florida State. You've got the East Carolina Regional with Norfolk State, the 4, and then Charlotte and Maryland. They're matched up with the Vandy Regional, Vanderbilt and Presbyterian, Indiana State, and Georgia Tech, rounding out that one. That's one side of the bracket. The other side, you go out to Austin, Texas. It's Texas and Southern U, Arizona State, the 2, and Fairfield with their 3 losses, but 2 of them coming in their tournament. They went 0-2 in their tournament. I think they went 0-2. No, they went 1-2. 1-2. They're 37-3. Got the best record from percentage standpoint in the country. Of course, we know they haven't played anybody because I think they played all league games. 37-3. They'll play Arizona State. The winner there gets the Florida regional winner, Florida and South Florida, and then Miami and South Alabama. Then you go to Notre Dame. Notre Dame regional has got Central Michigan facing the Irish, UConn and Michigan. Winner there gets the winner out of Mississippi State to play Sanford and Campbell, and at large. So the Big South got 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What respect for that league, huh? VCU and Campbell, the other 2 teams in Starkville.
Phil, I was going to say I was somewhat surprised, and also pleasantly surprised, because normally in those one-bid leagues, and we saw it happen to Wofford, win your regular season championship, but you don't win your tournament, you get left out. But to the credit of the NCAA committee, both in the Big South and also in the A-Sun, the regular season champion, even though they didn't carry the banner through the tournament, they also got in because of how well they had played during the regular season. I felt bad for Wofford. I thought they should have gotten that same consideration, but unfortunately they didn't.
Yeah, is the Big South that much more regarded than the Southern Conference in baseball? I'd have to go back and check the RPIs. But all right, the TCU regional, they've got McNeese State for their opponent, Dallas Baptist and Oregon State, the other 2. Winner there gets the winner out of Columbia. It's Old Dominion and Jacksonville. Jacksonville at 16-32, I believe, is the only team in the field with a losing record. That's a bad losing record. I mean, there's losing records. I mean, they played 48 games. Okay, so let's say you're 22-26, okay, or you're 23-25. No, you're 16-32. I mean, that's terrible. But they won their tournament, so they're in. The Dolphins, and then the Gamecocks and Virginia. Winner there gets the winner from TCU. If TCU wins, it'll be out there. You know what? Could this be a lucky year for the Gamecocks? They win their region, and let's say Oregon State wins the TCU region. Stands to reason that South Carolina would host a super regional. Then we go to Oregon. Oregon has Central Connecticut, and then LSU's in. Palmineri's going to have a few more games at least, and Gonzaga. Some of the people on television thought Gonzaga would get a host. They didn't. So Gonzaga, LSU, Oregon, Central Connecticut State. And the winner there gets the winner from Tennessee. Tennessee and Wright State. Wright State leads the country in runs per game at over 8 runs per game. And then you've got Liberty And then one of the hottest teams in the country, Duke. You saw them. My goodness. They ran right through the ACC tournament.
And their pitching is solid. Duke is going to be a tough out. Those guys are really good baseball. You never think of Duke about baseball. You think about them from November through about March. But this is a really, really good baseball team.
Southern also has a losing record. Okay, good. So there's two teams in there with a losing record. Southern 20-28. Okay, when we come back from the break, USC baseball coach Mark Kingston will be batting leadoff for us tonight as we talk about the Gamecocks, their region, and their opponent, Virginia, coming up noon on Friday. We'll be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Mostly clear skies overnight. Look for a low of 59. Now for tomorrow, we warm up to 87 as our high with more clouds and sunshine. Look for the upper 80s as our high temps the rest of the week with our best chance of rain coming Thursday or Friday, about a 40% chance of a shower. I'm Kevin Tone with your On Point local weather.
Hi, this is Jennifer Coolidge. The American Heart Association says the disco song Stayin' Alive is the near-perfect beat for hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult collapse from cardiac arrest, you only need 2 steps to help save a life. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest to the beat of the song Stayin' Alive. Disco is back and it's saving lives. To learn more, go to heart.org/hands-only-CPR.
Nationally supported by the Wellpoint Foundation.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Texas Senator Ted Cruz says President Joe Biden is being soft on Israel's foes and inviting more violence. Cruz told the Associated Press on Monday that Mr. Biden's policies showed weakness and had emboldened Hamas's militants who ruled the Gaza Strip and fired rockets on Jerusalem on May 10th. 11 days of war followed in which more than 250 people were killed, most of them Palestinians. Mr. Cruz was one of 4 American Republicans in Israel in recent days, including Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. No Wall Street numbers today because of the Memorial Day holiday. More details at srnnews.com.
So I spotted some cracks in the house, and rather than stress all over it, I just reached out. I called the folks at TerraTech to come on out and take a look. And they did come out, and they explained to me that fortunately, I wasn't looking at foundation failure, just normal settling in the home. That was a big, big relief. Now, I got to know these folks, and now I'm proud to enthusiastically suggest TerraTech as your source for foundation stabilization, for building or repairing retaining walls, so much more. I've been out to several of their job sites to see these repairs. It is awesome to see how they restore a home's value and give you back your peace of mind at the same time. I believe in their process. Listen, TerraTech is family owned. They're local, and that matters. For 38 plus years, matters so much to me. It should also to you when you're talking about your biggest financial asset, your home. So take a look at the house. See if you have any issues. You don't want to ignore cracks in the walls. And if you find any, get in touch with TerraTech. Online, it's terratechinc.com or call them 791-8888.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten.
And I'm State Representative Micah Cassidy.
Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening in the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. with Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 a.m.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
O'Reilly. Ready for an oil change? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are here to help. We'll make sure you have all the supplies you need to make the job quick and easy. Right now, get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $28.95. Plus, get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly.
Auto Parts. Hey renters, it's Ty Pennington for Guaranteed Rate. Stop paying your landlord's mortgage every month. Look, mortgage rates are still historically low, so go to rate.com now to get a mortgage on your first home and upgrade your life. Like a legit home office, a new deck for summer, maybe a pool, you name it. Guaranteed Rate can help you go from renting to buying like crazy fast. Start at rate.com today. That's rate.com.
Equal housing lender, subject to credit approval. Company NMLS ID 2611 and MLSConsumerAccess.org.
Weekdays from 7 to 9 on The Point. It's Kev and Brian in the morning. The news, the traffic 4 times an hour, and your daily forecast. Topics to wake you up, topics to make you smile and laugh. Hope you'll join us.
The Point.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Memorial Day night, 2021. Good to have you with us. We are live. This is not a taped program. We're always here on the day of the NCAA baseball tournament field announcement. To me, it's always a big day. We used to, I guess, the way the calendar's worked out, the tournament's starting a little bit later. It's actually not going to start until June. It used to be in May, or some years it's in May. I used to call it College Baseball Mayhem. I came up with that, just like I came up with March Madness. But now it's going to have, I got to come up with something for June that works with that. Coach Mark Kingston, in just a moment, let me update the NCAA Golf Championships out in Scottsdale, where Clemson has dropped. Boy, Tigers are not having a good day. They're 18 over for the day, plus 34 for the tournament, 11 shots off the top 8 cut to make it to match play. So not looking good now. They were much closer than that. They're playing holes 12 through 15, and they have really dropped in the last little bit. So see if they can rally, but not looking good out there. Oklahoma State is your leader, plus 11 today and minus 1 for the tournament. Okay, we've got the NCAA baseball tournament now set to begin. The field is set. 64 teams know that they've got a chance to play for the national championship. This is what you work for all year round. This is what you eye when you start playing those first games in the cold of February. Now it's going to be the heat of June. USC coach Mark Kingston joining us here on Sports Talk after learning yesterday they'd be hosting and then finding out who's coming to Columbia today. And first of all, congratulations. Is it an exhale moment? I mean, you knew yesterday you were going to be in. So when you first got that information, is it kind of an exhale moment for you because that pressure of just making the tournament is off of you for a little bit?
You know, I think that exhale moment came during the Kentucky weekend because that weekend we were named among the top 20 potential hosts, but you still knew at that point that you had to accumulate enough conference wins to make sure that you get in. And at that point, I think we were at 12. Can't remember exactly what our record was, but you know, the goal is to get to a minimum of 15 and then try to get to a winning record after that within the conference to guarantee that you're getting in. So I would say the exhale moment for us, just to make sure that we were in the NCAA tournament, was that Kentucky weekend when we swept. And then obviously yesterday was a kind of just a little bit extra because you found out we were going to host. And then today was all about just finding out who we're going to play. So, you know, there's obviously definitely different stages in that process. The moment you know you're in the tournament, the moment you know you're hosting, and then obviously finally, all right, who are we going to play now?
Yeah, I got to believe, too, when you were watching the telecast today and they started naming the national top 16 seeds, so the top 8 seeds, and they said Arkansas, you said, yeah, know them. Texas, know them. Tennessee, sure, seen them. Vanderbilt, yep, know them. Mississippi State, and on down the list. I mean, you played practically half the national top 16 seeds. So, I mean, if there's any team in the country that's battle-tested and ready to go against anybody, it's got to be your guys.
Well, I tried to tell people that, you know, our record, I think, is not really reflective of what this team is. In a normal year with a normal schedule, this could be already a 40-win team without question. But because we played every single one of the highest-level teams, including Texas outside of our conference, you know, you had to struggle a little bit more along the way because you can play great and still lose to an Arkansas. You can play great and still lose to a Tennessee or a Texas. or a Vanderbilt or a Mississippi State. That's just the way it is in baseball. So, again, I think this is a good team. I think this is a battle-tested team. And now what you hope is after all those battles, all those tests, that you really are prepared and ready, and that we play our best baseball here in the postseason.
All right, so let's get to a couple of pieces of business. Update us, if you would, on the two guys that missed the SEC tournament game, Malone and Khalil, with the injuries. And then, secondly, you guys have had a chance to kind of look over the data and stuff. Have you decided on what your pitching rotation is going to look like going into Friday?
Malone and Khalil, I feel pretty optimistic will be in the lineup come Friday. Malone has really made a lot of good progress, and the time off has served him well. Wimmer's another guy. Wimmer was playing at about 50% capacity over the last 2 weeks as well with a heel injury, and this time off has really allowed him to get more healthy. And then I feel pretty good. George, for the first time today, was out on the field fielding ground balls, taking some swings, and he felt like he's going to be in a position to be able to play on Friday as well. So hopefully we'll be back to full strength, which we haven't been in a while. And if we are, I think that only helps our chances.
And rotation-wise?
Obviously, Carey, Jordan, and Farr are the guys that have started the great majority of the year. I would anticipate those guys also being the same three guys that would start for us this weekend. The order, obviously, is still to be determined. We have a pretty good idea what we think we want to and need to do at this point, but we're not ready to make anything official publicly yet.
All right.
USC head baseball coach Mark Kingston with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Gamecocks hosting the Columbia Regional. Starts Friday. USC is the 2 seed in its regional against the 3 seed, the Virginia Cavaliers, at 12 noon. And Coach, speaking of your pitching rotation, what is Will Sanders' role with your team now that you've gotten into NCAA play? He's been a part-time starter for you this year. You can use him obviously out of the bullpen, but it appears that Bosnick is sort of your closer now at the back half. So what do you envision Will Sanders' role for you moving into the tournament?
Yeah, Will Sanders and Danny Lloyd, I would say at this point are the two complements to Bosnick. Obviously, Peters has been very good for a lot of the year. He's gotten in a little bit of a rut as of late, but he's still a guy that we anticipate getting some big outs for us. But Sanders will join Lloyd there as kind of the setup man for Bosnick. But also we know Will can close out a game too with his 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and he also throws strikes. So he gives us a lot of confidence that if Bosnick has to be used in a game one, and you think it's going to be hard to bring him back on no day's rest, we also feel like him or Lloyd could close out a game two potentially, and then allow Bosnick to come back in a game three, is what you would hope.
Brought up an interesting point a couple of moments ago when Phil was running through your resume, and you feel like this could be a 40-win-plus team if it were a normal year and you didn't have to face as many top 10 teams as you did. Is there a concern, even though it's NCAA tournament time now, for your team to maybe exhale a little bit because they're not going to see Vanderbilt across somebody's jersey, or Arkansas or Florida or Tennessee this weekend?
No, I don't think so, because Virginia's a team that's won a national championship. Their number one pitcher, Andrew Abbott, is one of the top pitchers in the country. So we have no time to exhale or think it's going to get easier. Andrew Abbott's a guy that could have pitched on the weekend for any SEC team we played all year. So it's still going to be a tremendous challenge. The kid has 136 strikeouts on the year. He was on our Team USA a couple of years ago. So it's a real guy. He could be in the weekend rotation for anybody. So there'll be it's going to get easy now. That's just not any part of our thinking.
Yeah, teams are hitting 218 against him. So what things did you guys do when you got back from Birmingham? I remember many years ago, your boss, Ray Tanner, after the Gamecocks had a short visit to Hoover, he said, you know what, we're going back to Columbia, and it's going to be a boot camp. I'm putting these guys through it, blah, 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 blah. And I think they ended up going to Omaha. So how did you treat the early return from Hoover and getting this team ready?
Well, there were some goals we had. Number one, we had to get healthy. Obviously, we already talked about Malone and Khalil and Wimmer, among others, are guys we needed to get healthy. And so I think the 10-day rest will really serve them well. We also wanted to get guys back in the weight room just to make sure that they're strong. Sometimes later in the season, guys can start to fade a little bit from playing so much baseball, from the heat, et cetera. So we've gotten them in the weight room pretty consistently, and we'll continue until we play on Friday. And also, I think a big part of what this gap will be is Farr and Jordan made 14 consecutive starts over 14 weeks, and that's a lot. And you look at a guy like Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter got a weekend off a couple weeks ago, and has been really good since then. And so I think Farr and Jordan were to the point where their stuff just wasn't quite what it was early in the season. And so I think this rest and this week off of them pitching, I think will serve them well. I'm hoping to see their velocity tick back up to where it was early in the season for getting the rest. And then the last thing is we've just gotten back to the fundamentals of the game. We've worked on base running. We've worked on bunting. We've worked on situational hitting. We've worked on defensive situations. So I wouldn't quite call it a boot camp, but I would just call it make sure we're mastering the basics this week. And then as we get further into the week, we'll have a good feel for our opponents and how we need to prepare for them as well.
When you look at this Virginia lineup, you mentioned their starting pitcher, and he's outstanding. But when you look at their lineup that your pitchers are going to face, what do you have to be concerned about there? I mean, 261 team batting average. They don't hit a heck of a lot of home runs, 35. Not too bad on the bases, 54 stolen bases out of 70 attempts. So what do you have to be concerned about as far as you know at this point about their offense?
Well, they don't strike out a whole lot. I think they'll have a very similar approach to Mississippi State, where they really do a nice job if they get to 2 strikes and they don't strike out. So they're going to put the ball in play. And so what you hope is that you do a good job positioning. You hope you do a good job on defense of covering gaps, and you hope that their balls don't find holes, truthfully. It's part of it. You need good fortune as well. So we need to make sure that we don't give them free passes, so that if they do happen to fight and get a couple hits with 2 strikes, it's not damaging to our team. So obviously we haven't dug too deep into their team yet. We just found out a few hours ago that we would be playing them. So the assistants have started that process, and then tomorrow and the next day we'll have a much better feel for what kind of game plan we need to have.
Sure. And I know you're focused 100% there. You have to be, but you got to also kind of know the other teams in your region. And Old Dominion, the number 1 seed, and I was looking over some of their numbers. I'm like, wow, 101 home runs. Now, I mean, we think about your team as an excellent power hitting team, but I mean, 101 home runs, is that do they have a park that's conducive to hitting a lot of balls out, or they just have that kind of a lineup?
Yeah, well, we'll have to look into that too. Obviously our first goal right now is to make sure we're prepared for Virginia, and we haven't dug too much into Old Dominion yet. Obviously, we know they're a very good opponent, and I have glanced over their stats to see all those offensive numbers as well. Obviously, a very offensive club, so we'll worry about that if we can get through Virginia.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the home field advantage. Even though you're not the top seed, you are at home. You're going to be playing at noon, and I imagine it's going to be a little hot out there, but that's fine. There's no excuse out there for fans not to buy the tickets and come pack the ballpark. And this is really a time, and we saw it with your home series against Tennessee when fans were allowed in, and they were very loud and supportive. I mean, this is a time when a home team in a regional can thrive off the fan base, and there's a reason why the percentages are very strongly in favor of the home team in regionals and super regionals.
Yeah, no question about it. I look forward to seeing Gamecock fans out there. I hope we pack the house. I know a lot of people are excited. I know a lot of people are starting to get that feeling that we're making a lot of good progress within the program. And obviously this is another box to check, is hosting regionals. It's another step in the right direction for us. So can't wait to see fans out there. It sure as heck, beats having to watch us on TV from somewhere far away. So Founders Park, postseason, June baseball, hosting regionals. That's what it's all about. That's why you come here, and I really look forward to seeing our fans out there enjoying Gamecock baseball in the postseason.
Well, I'll tell you what, to me, the regionals, super regionals, some of the best events that college sports can give you. I mean, the NCAA basketball tournament's great. Of course, bowl games and football playoffs, great. But these regionals, especially when it gets deep into the weekend and you're getting in those late innings and you got a chance to advance, the pressure, the intensity is really something special. You need to be there to experience that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's drama. It's sports drama is what it is. It's nonfiction. It's not anything dreamt up by Hollywood. It's just a lot of kids getting after it with passion, playing the sport they love with great support from fans, and there's no question. You get deep into games, you get elimination games. You can just feel it, and it's just something special to be a part of.
Last thing, we'll let you go. I know, at the beginning of the season, we're talking about baseball in our state, and there's you, and there's Clemson, there's Coastal, and there's College of Charleston, and all Wofford, and all the teams that we talk about. And here it is. It's you and Presbyterian representing the state. Now, Coach Pollock and his team, the Blue Hose, they've got to go to Nashville and play Vanderbilt. He'll be joining us a little bit later. You got any words of wisdom for him about going to Nashville to play those guys?
Well, just enjoy it. Elton does a really nice job, and I know he's going to be thrilled to take his team there. Enjoy the experience. It's a cool little ballpark to go play in. Obviously, they're going to be playing one of the top teams in the country. So, congrats to them on their championship, and just enjoy the experience. It doesn't come along, that often. So when you get them, you want to really make sure you enjoy them. So. That would be my advice, and he doesn't need my advice. He's a really good coach and a good man, and so we wish them the best of luck.
No doubt about that. He knows what he's doing. But if he has to face one of those two big time arms, good luck with that, huh?
Yeah, well, they're pretty good, no question about it. So I can't say that we have some great game plan against those two guys based on the success we had early in the season, but. Again, just the opportunity to be a part of it is something special.
Well, hey, congratulations to you and your program. It's a long, hard grind of a season, and you take nothing for granted, and this is where you wanted to be. So first time for the Gamecocks back in the postseason since your first year at South Carolina. And, of course, there was no postseason last year. So look forward to covering the regional, and we thank you, as always, for being with us tonight. Good luck to you.
All right. Thanks, guys. My pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Coach.
Of course, that first year was pretty magical. They went to Greenville, North Carolina, covered that regional, and they won that regional. Mark Kingston's first year, Chris. And, man, I tell you, they were, as Ray Tanner and all of them that were there, they were unbelievably excited about what they were doing. But they had to go out to Arkansas and took them to 3 games, but ran out of pitching in that third game, and Arkansas beat them pretty soundly and went on to Omaha that year. And then they didn't make the tournament the next year. That would have been 2019. Of course, last year, 2020, there was no tournament. And now here we are. And they, quite likely would have been a tournament team last year. And here we are in 2021, and they're back in the tournament at home. You got to like what they're doing, but need to go out and win some games in this region and win the regional, if at all possible, to kind of validate everything that you went through this year.
No doubt. They've got to go win this regional, and I think it's possible. And I think should they get a super regional matchup with TCU of the 8 national seats, I don't know that that's necessarily the worst draw for the Gamecocks should they end up going out to Fort Worth. But as he pointed out, first things first, they've got to get through Virginia on Friday. But, Gamecock fans, this is what they expect. Reaching a regional is expected. That was almost like an additional into the schedule. Getting to the Supers and onto Omaha is what they anticipate. Same thing as we were talking last week about Clemson having an atypical season for the Tigers. Tiger fans don't expect them to be sitting at home. And you were joking about South Carolina and PC being the only 2 representatives from our state, as good a state as we have in baseball. When Coastal and Clemson aren't involved in the postseason, something's amiss. And I thought it was funny. You were talking about Vanderbilt's pitching of what PC is going to face. And normally, if you're a 4 seed, you don't necessarily have to worry about a frontline guy because the number 1 seed tries to hold all their best guys until game 2, when presumably they would face the other really good team in their regional. Well, if Kumar Rocker doesn't go against PC, that means Jack Leiter does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've got 1A, 1B. They've got 2 Friday night starters, and it's no easy task to face a team as good as Vanderbilt is, especially with that pitching staff.
It's called pick your poison.
It really is.
When you're facing the Commodores. Thanks again to Mark Kingston. Really appreciate him being on with us tonight. Busy day for him and his crowd. Looking forward. I tell you, regionals are a lot of fun. It's fun having the teams in town and the press conference. Well, I guess we won't have in-person press conferences, though I did see where Elton Pollock today, after the announcement, there were reporters there with him in person. They didn't do I saw a picture of reporters surrounding him, so they're kind of getting back to in-person contact there. I doubt we'll do that with this regional. It's probably just too soon for everybody, but they are fun to cover, and looking forward to it. South Carolina, a noon start on Friday, so that gives us, selfishly speaking, a chance to go and take in the game and properly cover it, and then talk about it on the show Friday night. And we thank the coach for being with us here on Sports Talk. Let's go to our phone lines, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, and Alex in Merle's Inlets. Hey, man, good to have you with us. How are you? Hope you had a good day.
Thank you. Wonderful. Yeah, I want to talk about, I wanted to talk about college baseball. I'm glad to hear the Gamecocks have the regional there in Columbia, but I'm going to segue, talk about, I work in food and beverage here in Myrtle Beach, and Shane Beamer was at I work at the Dunes Beach Club in Myrtle Beach, and Shane Beamer with the Gamecock Club and the soccer coach and swim coach were there as well. And I have to tell you, both those guys, they're all great. And this isn't what I want to talk about. And both those guys, the soccer coach, swim coach, they're good guys. There's a soccer coach from England originally. Swim coach went to University of Georgia, and the Gamecock club president, the girl, she gave me a little hard time about red, like it got really garnet red. It was really funny. But I have to tell you, Shane Beamer, he is a real person. He is. He was just really down to earth. And actually, I wanted to talk about college baseball, but Gamecock fans, this guy, and I'm a Gamecock fan, but I walked out in the lobby, he was signing autographs, and he kind of looked, he smiled. This is a man who, he is not, excuse me for saying that, he's not in it for the money. And, yeah, he loves the school, he loves her, and he even said, he got up and he told a joke, really funny joke, he told a joke about this guy left his keys caught in the car, and his family's still in it, and but he couldn't get him out. But he's coming. Hey, I don't want to get into that. But he told some funny jokes, and then he said that he was born.
Hope he told it better than that. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I can't tell it. I can't tell you. But he was right. But one guy got up and said, "Listen, we appreciate your accent from South Carolina." Shane Beamer was born in Charleston. And he's told story. His grandfather owned a house in Cherry Grove, and he spent his teenage years in Cherry Grove, South Carolina. So I think that he was just, it was a really good meeting here with Shane Beamer, and I think he hit a home run. He's a good guy. Love your show. Listen to you off there. Bye.
Thank you. Well, I'd say that Shane Beamer is a very popular guy in Gamecock land right now, and he knows that too. He knows what he's going through right now, the honeymoon period, and he's doing all the right things. I think he's saying all the right things, and that will last all the way up until that first loss. Now, if that first loss comes against Georgia, it'll be shrugged off, and hey, it's at Georgia, under the lights, between the hedges. Gamecocks seldom win there, though Steve Spurrier won there a little bit. You don't want to have that first loss at East Carolina. That would be that's when people will grumble. You beat Eastern Illinois to get started, then go to Greenville, North Carolina, win that game. You're 2-0. Then go to Georgia. All right, you lose that game. Nobody's going to expect you to win. You're 2-1. And then you come back home, and who is it next? Is it Kentucky next? They got a chance to win the next two. Get off to a 4-1, 3-2 start, and boy, you're going to see that honeymoon will turn into a beautiful marriage. I mean, just the love fest will be incredible between Gamecock fans and Shane Beamer. He won't have to keep spewing all this positive stuff. They're going to just take it and run with it themselves and be all over him. But you got to win. The point about all this is you're only as popular as your record. Okay, it's pretty simple. You're only as popular as your record. You could be the greatest guy. You could cure cancer and and heal the sick. But, go 3-8 or 3-9, and you're just an absolute bum.
Dabo Sweeney and all in doesn't work quite as well at 2-10, does it?
No. But he is doing. You'd agree he's doing all the right things right now.
No question. And a lot of it is going to start tomorrow when he gets recruits on campus too. Can he finish the deal and sell them on coming to play at South Carolina? That's where those wins are going to become a reality if he can get those players in.
Hey, we're going to talk about that in recruiting coming up after we talk to Coach Pollock after the break.
The only afternoon local talk radio in Columbia is the Afternoon Drive with Kev. It's all about you. It's your phone calls. It's my challenging topics. All the news, traffic, and weather weekdays, 4 p.m. on The Point.
Press that button, home stew.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. President Biden was on hand at Arlington National Cemetery to lead the nation in observances of Memorial Day. The president laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier and called on Americans to carry on the defense of democracy. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis tells the Salem Radio Network Americans need to remember the price of freedom is not cheap.
Through the ages, whether it's the War of Independence or the Civil War that took over 500,000 lives, or the World War I and World War II, where we lost a combined 500,000 Americans up to the present time, this freedom has come with a great price.
In President Biden's address at Arlington today, he said that all those we honor today gave their lives for the country, but they live forever in our hearts. In other news, 3 people have died and dozens were injured in shootings over the weekend in South Florida.
We must get these killers off the streets.
Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava on WPLG after 3 people got out of an SUV early Sunday morning and shot into a crowd outside a banquet hall that had been rented out for a concert. They used assault rifles and handguns.
Gun violence is an epidemic, and the pandemic has intensified it. We must invest in public safety, and we must invest in our communities.
The 3 shooters have not yet been identified, and there is a $100,000 reward for any leads.
We need you to come forward if you have information to help us solve these crimes.
I'm Shelley Adler.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz says President Joe Biden is being soft on Israel's foes and inviting more violence. Cruz told the Associated Press that Biden's policy showed weakness and had emboldened Hamas's militants who ruled the Gaza Strip and fired rockets on Jerusalem on May 10th. More at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discounted to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
Looking for a way to pay for that new home improvement you've been waiting for? Ready to consolidate credit card debt at a lower interest rate? Figure offers multiple loan options that can help you improve your finances. From mortgage refinances to home equity lines and personal loans, Figure can help you find the loan that's right for you. Figure takes all the stress and hassle out of the process. Apply 100% online at Figure.com and see your new rate in a few clicks. Figure out your finances at Figure.com. Figure Lending LLC. Equal Opportunity Lender. NMLS 1717824. Terms and conditions apply.
British health authorities are aiming to vaccinate 15,000 people at London's Twickenham Rugby Stadium on Monday as part of a race to contain a fast-spreading coronavirus variant. We hear more from correspondent Charles de Ledesma, reporting from London.
The walk-in vaccination centre at Twickenham, home of England's national rugby team, is offering first jabs without an appointment to people from northwest London, a hotspot for the variant. Health officials in the northwest England town of Bolton, which has had the highest rates of the new variant, say infections are starting to fall after a mass testing and surge vaccination campaign there. The variant, first identified in India, accounts for a majority of new cases in Britain, which is seeing a rise in infections after weeks of decline. Charles de Ledesma, London.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Mostly clear skies overnight. Look for a low of 59. Now for tomorrow, we warm up to 87 as our high with more clouds and sunshine. Look for the upper 80s as our high temps the rest of the week with our best chance of rain coming Thursday or Friday, about a 40% chance of a shower. I'm Kevin Cohn with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Please press button now. No, number 1.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. A live edition of Sports Talk on this Memorial Day night for 2021. Phil Kornblut coming to you from Columbia. Chris Bergen and Florence. Pat Daniels here at our downtown Columbia studios as well. We've got recruiting coming up in a couple of minutes. We're continuing to talk about the NCAA baseball tournament. Let me update a couple of things. The NCAA golf tournament, Clemson fading out west in Arizona. And Tigers have dropped to 14th now. They've got 5 holes to play. They're plus 35, plus 19 on the day. They are 11 shots back of Vanderbilt, which sits in the 8th spot. That's the final spot to transfer to match play tomorrow. So things are looking grim there for the Tigers. However, Clemson's Turk Pettit is tied for the overall lead at 7 under par. He is even today. He's played through 15 holes. He's tied with Bo Jin of Oklahoma State for the individual championship. Also, Major League Baseball, of course, a lot of baseball going on this afternoon on Memorial Day. Giants beat the Angels 6-1. White Sox over the Indians 8-6. Cubs down the Padres 7-2. They're red hot. Brewers over the Tigers 3-2. Reds pound the Phillies 11-1. Rays beat the Yankees. Yankees cannot beat the Rays. Cannot beat them. It's 3-1. Rays wins it or win it. Twins over the Orioles 3-2. Braves are leading the Nats 4-3, top of the 6th. A's and Mariners 4. Astros 11-2 over the Red Sox mid-8. And White Sox and Indians are scoreless, bottom of the 2nd. Mark Kingston was with us earlier. Gamecocks headed to the NCAA tournament as a host. The second team from our state headed into the NCAA tournament, headed to Nashville. The Presbyterian College Blue Hose, they make the tournament for the first time ever, and they only draw one of the best teams in America in Vanderbilt to open things up. But that's nothing to worry about today. Today's all about celebration as we welcome Coach Elton Pollock to Sports Talk once again. And congratulations to you and your guys for a job well done over the weekend.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Have y'all stopped partying yet?
Not quite. Last dance is about 8 o'clock tonight. So guys are doing their thing. We're taking it all in and embracing it as we go. So I'm happy for them and really proud.
So, was it even though you knew you were in by virtue of winning your tournament championship, you're an automatic bid, was it still, when you saw that name come up and you saw the guys talking about Presbyterian and going to Nashville to play Vanderbilt, was it still kind of surreal for you this afternoon?
Yeah, I think so on a number of different levels. I mean, it's almost, it's kind of like a birthday and the gifts are there, and then you kind of see the shape of the box and you know what it is, but opening is a whole nother thing. So yeah, it was really awesome. Just seeing our guys react and they've earned that. They've earned that. Played well down the stretch to earn this opportunity. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Take us through the weekend and how things kind of came together for you in the Big South tournament, and when you kind of started to sense that maybe it was going to be your day over the weekend.
Well, that wouldn't have been until about the 9th inning. In the third game, where we took the lead and felt good about bringing Eric Toth in to close the game out. But we were just very resilient. That's been our word in and throughout the stretch. We were on the road for, if you count the tournament, those last 3 weekends, and visiting team, and so it's prepared us at least somewhat for tournament style play. And we approached every weekend, and really it was tight as far as that 4th spot. There were 3 teams vying for that spot. So each and every game was important, and we were watching the boards and knew where everyone was as far as how we were coming down the stretch, and knew what we had to do going into that last weekend, and pretty much put it in our own hands to control our destiny as far as making the tournament. And then in the tournament, obviously it's anybody's ball game. We felt good about how we had played Campbell and then throughout the year. We'd taken 2 or 3 from them during the year, even though they beat us pretty well in that second game of that series in the regular season. We just felt like we were in position and knew what we had and matched up well with them, and our guys got it done.
Yeah, you beat them 7-2 in the first time you met him in the tournament, and then you beat Gardner-Webb 9-6. Then you beat Campbell again 8-5. And look, I mean, Campbell obviously highly respected. They made the tournament as well. You guys in the Big South, you got to feel exceptional about the fact that you got 2 in.
No question, no question. Well, I mean that all happened because they didn't win the tournament for the most part, unless Upstate had gotten somehow a bid. But I think that went down a little bit once they matched up with Campbell in that series, and Campbell swept them in that series. So nonetheless, I mean, big props to Coach Hare and Campbell. They've really set a standard and a precedence in our conference and held that since Coastal left, in 2016. And obviously we know what Coastal did in 2016. So they bring a lot of respect to the way that they run their program. And I got nothing but great things to say about those guys. So really ecstatic, yes, that we've gotten 2 teams in the conference for the Big South Conference and with the Big South Conference.
Sure.
BC head baseball coach Elton Pollock with us tonight on Sports Talk. The Blue Hose into the D1 baseball tournament for the first time in program history. Coach, you've been there 17 years. You've taken the transition from D2 up to D1. Can you put into perspective for us and give us just an idea of you personally, how proud you are to finally get PC into the tournament?
Well, I think that goes without saying, Chris. And first of all, hello to you as well. I mean, obviously
how you doing,
we go
pal?
way back. Yeah, doing great. You and Heidi as well. So just please tell her I said hello. As far as our program is concerned, man, this is it is much bigger than me. It is much bigger than any one person. I am from the D2 era. I got an opportunity to play with some very good baseball players because Coach Corbin and Coach Kovash, who took over for Coach Corbin when he left to go to Clemson as a recruiting guy for Coach Leggett, they built the program that way. Now, we didn't have great teams, but we had competitive teams, and obviously a lot of grit has always been the kind of makeup of players that have come through that program. But this win for us to be able to play in the NCAA tournament is for everyone that has come before. It is for the communities involved, particularly Clinton and Lawrence County in general. I mean, there are good people in who are very proud of what our baseball team did this past weekend, and it's brought a lot together. So there's a lot of things that go on, and a lot of people talk about different things, man, as far as just really trying to make sure that we're on the same page and moving forward. I mean, COVID did a lot to set things back, and it even did that for our team and then throughout the season. And so for us to be able to overcome the hurdles that we had during the year, we had 2 weekends shut down for COVID for us. And then we had an opponent that couldn't play because their roster was thin. So we lost 3 weekends in the middle of the season. And so as we started to trickle back and get our roster back together, the key guys, we had a lot of key guys out. And so we had to play a lot of young guys. And I think that benefited us down the stretch. We got a lot of freshmen producing for us.
Does the committee have a sense of history or a sense of humor with the matchup you get in the first round? You mentioned Tim Corbin, who resurrected the PC program back in the late 80s. You actually played for him. Now you get a chance to go up against your mentor in PC's first ever trip to the NCAA tournament. How do you describe having to face Vanderbilt and also go up against your former coach?
I mean, that's not for me to explain. I have no idea how that came about, but you know, we gotta go and obviously put our best foot forward. I'm excited to compete against Coach Corbin. Obviously, he's taught me a tremendous amount. He texted me yesterday, just congratulating me, and I was very blown away. Still, you know, when we get opportunities to talk, especially in season. I mean, he's locked in just like every other coach in the country, and you know, he's definitely created the standard of what needs to be done and how to run a program at the Division I level and at major college Division I baseball. So hats off, a lot of respect. It'll be very good to see Coach Corbin, but man, it's going to be dialed in. There won't be any. I promise you, he won't take it easy on me just because of who I am or anything else. But at the same time, I wouldn't expect that. And my guys are going to be equipped and ready to compete our tails off and just absolutely get after it and show the brand of baseball that we play. And so we'll see how it all comes out and see how the matchups go. We're still doing a lot of scouting. We just got the information obviously today. So we'll see how it all comes down to the wire.
All right. So do you want to see Rocker or do you want to see Leiter?
That's not my choice. That's not my choice. I tell you what, though. I tell you what, preparing for one is very much like preparing for the other in terms of velocity. So, you know, it is what it is on that side. I think those guys are standards as far as the type of arms. So they do get our respect, and we respect every opponent that we play. But you know, taking Vandy or getting Vandy in the first opening game of the tournament. You know, there's a tremendous amount that comes with that from the scouting end of things, but we've seen them all year. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of video out there, and we watch it just to kind of see what those standards are. We've been fortunate in our league to have a couple of guys that should be drafted pretty high this year. Gardner Webb had the Miller kid who has been up to 100 miles an hour this year, and additionally USC Upstate. You know, they're number one. Marks was up to, you know, he's been in that 95 to 97 range. And so we've seen that. We've competed against it. So go down and play Auburn in the opening series. The whole purpose behind how at least I schedule is to put us on that big stage early so that we can be prepared for times such as this.
So besides playing the absolute perfect baseball game, what do you have to do to beat Vanderbilt game plan wise, and what will be your pitching plans going in?
Well, I haven't released our starter yet as far as officially, but obviously the plan is to throw strikes. I mean, they're batting 300 as a club. I mean, you got to go through their offense and you got to make plays. But the thing you cannot do is you can't give it away. You got to force them to hit the baseball. You got to make plays and really that's the staple for keeping you in a baseball game against a team like Vanderbilt. We've gone and played Vandy in the past. I've gone down and played them midweek twice a few years ago. I think that may have been in 2018. And while we got beat and actually pretty good in the second game, the first game we were very competitive. I think they beat us 5-2 in that first game, and so there's some things that we've done in the past to try to make sure that we're able to at least stay in the ball game long enough to help ourselves as far as being, you know, extremely defensive and throwing a lot of strikes.
Mm-hmm. Elton Pollock, head baseball coach at Presbyterian College. Blue Hose on their way to the NCAA tournament. Joining us tonight here on Sports Talk. They get Vanderbilt in the opening game on Friday in the Nashville Regional. Coach, folks may realize you were a pretty good baseball player during your career at PC. Actually played some minor league baseball as well. But what folks may not know is you were a darn good football player at Presbyterian as well. Would you have preferred to play, though, for the school's brand new head coach and Kevin Kelly, a guy who never punts the football? How much fun would that have been for you?
I don't know. I was a punt returner too. Yeah, I mean, so I wouldn't have gotten much work where that's concerned. So, you know, I've gotten a chance to talk to Coach Kelly, and throughout his process, man, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I'm excited for him. I know there's been a lot of talk and a lot of buzz, both good and bad where that's concerned. But, man, we'll just wait and see how it plays out and trust the processes as we go through it. So, he brings a lot of success, and that's hard to deny as we start to get ready for, football as we know it in the fall. So I'm excited for what that means and all of the tailgating and everything else and all of the national eyes that'll be on PC again. So, and that's one great thing about what we've done this weekend is bringing national attention to a little school right there in Clinton, South Carolina. So I'm ecstatic about how things are going right now for our program.
Absolutely. Last thing, we'll let you go. And I know you tell me you guys would go to the moon to play in a regional. And so, Nashville's not that far, and anybody you face is going to be an elite team. However, as you were sitting there before things were spelled out, were you thinking, just put us in Columbia, man. It's just an hour down the road. It's a nice, easy ride for everybody. Our fans can get there, and we're a perfect 4 seed for that. Just put us in Columbia. Were you thinking Columbia, or did you have an idea or did somebody tip you off that, hey, man, you're just not going to Columbia?
Well, I didn't get any tips, but man, I immediately, and I told my SID this, my baseball SID, Greg Hartley, we were talking one day, and I said, dude, you know what? We win this thing, we could end up in Nashville. And he said, you think they do that? And I'm like, you're daggone right. So anyway, he was the one guy I said that to, and I'm not superstitious. I'm not, a fortune teller or anything like that. I can't see the future, but I don't know. That just came to me in the midst of how everything was kind of working out. Columbia did not register with me, even though, Coach Tanner reached out and, maybe I should have had an inkling of saying, man, do you think we can get down to Columbia? It would have been convenient for sure. But nonetheless, I think our guys have earned this opportunity to go to a place like Nashville, to go away and really see elite baseball and know that we belong because we did win our tournament. And we get to go out and put it up against the best. So I'm excited to really show off the brand of baseball that we play.
Well, thank you for being with us. Congratulations once again on getting it done over the weekend. Good luck this week. We'll all be tuned in and watching when you guys play Vandy on Friday night, and hope to be talking to you again this time next week about moving on to a super.
Man, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. Well,
you guys
have a great night.
I'm going to Vegas and putting $100 on your head right now.
Indeed.
You put 100 on there, man. You're going to have to. I don't know. I can't talk about gambling.
No, you can't. Well, thanks very much. It's great talking to you again.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah,
Take
thank
care.
you.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Oh, me. So you obviously you've known him quite a while, and I guess you did a bunch of his games back in the day.
Yeah, I used to do radio for PC Baseball. I've known Elton since he took over the job, and he's as good a baseball coach. Well, let me back up. He's a better person than he is a baseball coach, and I couldn't be happier for him. He has put his heart and soul into that program. 17 years at the same place and really not seeing a whole lot of success in return. For them to get this opportunity, I think it's wonderful. And I think the NCAA had to have some sort of idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Tim Corbin was the first coach at that school. He coached this guy. Why don't we pair them together in the NCAA tournament? I think it's a wonderful story.
I get
it's
that.
just an awfully difficult.
Doesn't it just make more sense, though, to put them in Columbia?
No doubt.
Okay, so that means where does Jacksonville go? They're a 4 seed. Where?
Florida.
Yeah, that would make sense. If you're talking about trying
regional,
to keep expenses down and give fans a chance to follow their teams. Who's the number 4 in Gainesville then? Because every time you move somebody, you got to move somebody out. So where's the Gainesville? Where's the Gainesville? Where's the Gainesville? There it is. South Florida's their number 4. So you'd have to bump them somewhere, which that's a good fit for them. But I get the storyline there, but that'll only last until, if Vanderbilt starts to hammer away at these. Let's face it, man. There's probably, of course, I don't give New Jersey Tech much of a chance against Arkansas. From time to time, you get a 4 beating a 1 in these things. The year Stony Brook made its run, did they go in as a 4 or were they a 3? Do you remember?
I don't.
Yeah. Go back
I
and
want to
check.
hedge that they were 3, but
Yeah.
no, you run through there. There's a reason 4 seeds are what they are, and you're talking about in Vanderbilt. You're talking about a team that won a national championship the last time we played this format. It's not like the dregs of society. They are going to be, to me, they're going to be in Omaha. I think Arkansas is going to be in Omaha, and heck, those 2 teams may meet in the finals to determine it. And that's how good those 2 programs are right now.
Yeah. Thanks for Coach for being with us tonight here on Sports Talk. Great stuff from him. Let's do recruiting before we hit the break. Is that okay, Pat? Pat gives me the thumbs up on recruiting. Recruiting is going to be, getting a little wild and woolly here because tomorrow is the day that they can go live again, and we'll be following it as closely as we can. Our recruiting report here on Sports Talk, of course, is brought to you by Seawells. And, of course, the folks at Seawells remind you that they have their daily luncheon buffet for you every day, and it is delicious. It's 11 to 2, and they have a great setup there as things have now kind of opened back up again. You don't have to be as concerned about things, but it doesn't mean their quality or the way they do things will change. They will continue with the highest quality of preparation and delivery to you for their daily luncheon buffet. And also, looking ahead to the football season, you need parking for USC home football games. Seawells now has their parking available for Gamecock Saturdays. So give them a call. You're looking for a parking space, 803-771-7385, or email seawellscatering@gmail.com. So we look ahead to the start of everything. The dead period has been in place since March of 2019. For the most part, recruiting has continued a lot of different ways, virtually, over the phone, Facebook, Zoom, what have you. They've been doing it that way. And some players have taken some visits on their own, but they couldn't meet with coaches. All that changes as of 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So South Carolina is going to load up with official visits in June. They've got about 20 spread out through the month and many more unofficials. The first ones are scheduled for June 7th with defensive tackle Felix Hickson and running back Ramon Brown. The Gamecocks will have mini camps June 3rd, 4th, 5th, 11th, 13th, and 19th. Lineman camps and 7-on-7 on June 17th, 18th, 24th, 25th, and a specialist camp on June 19th. Again, besides those June 7th officials, here's what we've got for the Gamecocks. On June 11th, officials, cornerback Kawan Banks, linebacker Stone Blanton, offensive tackle Ryan Brubaker, running back Jalon Glover, athlete Sam McCall, safety Javante McClendon, who might very well commit, wide receiver Peter Kikwata, committed offensive tackle Grayson Maines, and wide receiver C.J. Smith. On June 18th, wide receiver Addison Copeland and cornerback Traquan Fagans. June 25th, tight end Oscar Delp, cornerback Chris Graves, defensive tackle Nick James, cornerback Keenan Nelson, cornerback Nikkei Martinez, and defensive end Tomiwa Durjaye. Now, Clemson having no official visits over the summer, that's their policy. They save their officials for the fall, but they'll have a number of recruits for unofficials and camp workouts. One of the first to be on campus will be safety Deuce Campbell of Malden, plans to make an unofficial tomorrow. The Tigers are planning a major event for the weekend of June 11 through 13, their elite retreat. They'll have camp sessions on June 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 10th, and 11th. As for some of the unofficial visits that have been scheduled for Clemson, beginning on June 1st, you've got defensive end Jeremiah Alexander and Deuce Caldwell. Did I say Campbell earlier? I meant Deuce Caldwell. Sorry about that. June 2nd, defensive end Robbie Harrison. June 3rd, tight end Oscar Delp. June 4th, cornerback Nikkei Martinez. June 5th, Antonio Williams, wide receiver from Dutch Fork. June 8th, defensive end Jihad Campbell, who will be on commitment watch, and safety Dalen Everett. Make that cornerback Dalen Everett. June 10th, wide receiver Andre Green Jr. June 12th, for the elite retreat, and there'll be more than just this, but these are some that we have noted. Safety Sherrod Coville, running back Trevor Etienne. Got to make sure I get that right. Not Travis, he's gone. And not Trevor Lawrence, he's gone. But Trevor Etienne. Wouldn't that be just Clemson to have a guy named Trevor Etienne. Take the first name and the last name of their two greatest offensive players from the last, 3 or 4 years and put them together and have Trevor Etienne. Cornerback Toriano Pride, free safety Keon Sabb, tight end Jaleel Skinner, defensive end DJ Wazolak, cornerback Jaden Lucas. Then on June 14th, linebacker Jaron Kanak. June 17th, defensive end Shamar Stewart, coming in with a bunch of teammates. June 23rd, defensive end Nijalik Kelly. And to be determined, defensive end Anae White. And again, everything is, shall we say, flexible on these dates. There could be some players who I have at a date, but they might change that date, come in another date. But that's what we've noted to this point. I got a few more notes that we will share with you when we come back from the break right here on Sports Talk. Don't go away.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Mostly clear skies overnight. Look for a low of 59. Now for tomorrow, we warm up to 87 as our high with more clouds and sunshine. Look for the upper 80s as our high temps the rest of the week with our best chance of rain coming Thursday or Friday, about a 40% chance of a shower. I'm Kevin Torn with your On Point local weather.
What can I possibly do to make this stressful time a little better? Here's one thing I found. It's a small thing, a simple thing, a remarkable thing. Smile. You can share a smile from more than 6 feet apart. You can share it socially with the whole world. In fact, right now, I'm smiling at you. And I hope you're smiling back, because smiling is in you. From PassItOn.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A nation slowly emerging from restrictions imposed by the coronavirus pandemic honored generations of fallen U.S. veterans on a Memorial Day observed without the severe pandemic restrictions that affected the day of tribute just a year ago. Parades and events of remembrance were held in localities large and small across the country today, many resuming after being canceled last year as the pandemic hit with full force. At Arlington National Cemetery's Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Virginia, President Joe Biden delivered a solemn speech honoring the 1 million killed in service of the nation and challenged Americans to carry on that defense of democracy. No Wall Street numbers today because of the Memorial Day holiday. Trading will resume tomorrow. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you ready to make your money work for you rather than you working for your money? Dave Ramsey here. Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union, serving the Midlands since 1936. Palmetto Citizens is not a mega bank, so you can count on good old-fashioned customer service and the profits going back to you. Plus, they care about your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org, federally insured by the NCUA.
What's this truck pulling up in our driveway?
It's the folks from Dominion Energy. They're here to recycle our old fridge in the garage.
Why?
Because it's just sitting there wasting energy, and we can use the extra space, not to mention the extra cash.
Extra cash?
Yes. We get $50 cash and pickup is free.
Sounds too good to be true.
See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Spring is more than pollen season. It also means it's termite season. Palmetto Exterminators offers a free inspection at your home to determine any possible issues. Palmetto Exterminators offers the best termite agreement anywhere, but they do so much more. They offer complete pest control, mosquito control, wildlife trapping and removal, and nobody, I mean nobody, can offer you more peace of mind at your home or business. Now, how do I know that? Well, I never tell you to use someone like Palmetto Exterminators unless I practice what I preach. Now, I've been a customer for 19 years, and they are wonderful. My guy, Ron Byers, and his team over at Palmetto Exterminators, they've looked after my family forever. We have no pest control issues whatsoever. But if we did, all it takes is one phone call, and Palmetto Exterminators will fix it. It's pretty simple. Call Palmetto Exterminators and cross pest control right off your list of concerns. Online, it's palmettoexterminators.net, or give my guy Ron a call, 254-5833.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Someone will be right with you. Please continue to hold. The point.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk. Let's continue with the recruiting report for this Monday night. You know, it's worth you being with us to hear this juicy, meaty recruiting report, just like what you've been cooking on the grill all day. Did you grill out today?
Actually did. My wife found a recipe for turkey Southwest burgers.
Yeah.
And so they were outstanding.
No.
Yep, they were outstanding.
No, burgers, you can't. Burgers, it's got to have beef. Can't have turkey. I don't like anything. You say burgers, got to be beef. I mean, I just don't like anything.
I've got no problem with that. Hey, I enjoy a good
I don't like chicken. I don't like burgers called chicken. I don't like burgers called turkey. I don't like burgers called cabbage. I like burgers called beef. No, I'm serious. I mean, come on. Burgers have to be beef. Don't they?
I've got no problem with that. I'm just telling you, if you'd like to try a different option, those were actually pretty good.
I don't want that. That's what I'm saying. I did have a great steak, marinated for 3 days. It was good stuff.
Ooh.
Good stuff. Yeah. So I hope everybody's had a nice grill out kind of day. Pat, did you? I'm surprised. I mean, I almost, called you this afternoon, Pat, to remind you that we had a show tonight because typically it's hard to get you here on Memorial Day.
Well, it wasn't quite warm enough for the usual drinking by the pool routine, so you had a little less to worry about today. But yes, for lunch we grilled some hot dogs, good old Nathan's hot dogs.
Oh yeah,
always the best. And then tonight have some steaks.
You're eating again?
Absolutely. Bone-in ribeyes at Publix, $7.99 a pound this week. Sign me up. So got a few of those ready to throw on the grill after the show.
I have to admit, I always worry on holidays that we're doing a show about old Pat. He's out of the lake. I don't know if we're going to see him or not. I'm proud of him. He's maturing. I'm proud of him to see him here.
I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn my new co-host's palates here.
Yeah.
So when you throw a steak on the grill, what is the temperature it has to be for you guys?
Now, for me, it's medium rare.
Okay.
Yeah, rare to medium rare. I like it mooing at me still.
Mm-hmm.
In my formative years, I actually went out to Texas one time and ordered a steak, medium well, I think. You should have seen, the chef almost came out of the back with a meat cleaver.
No.
Yeah,
You
ruin.
You ordered medium well.
Medium well, yeah.
Well,
I learned real fast, and then I realized, because I always, growing up, parents overcook stuff just because they're afraid to poison their kids. So I would get the burnt steaks. That's what I knew. When I realized, though, that medium rare was so much better and didn't ruin the meat, I won't go back the other way. I won't go back to the dark side, so to speak.
One of the beautiful things about going to Omaha, besides the baseball, is the food. And there is a steak place there called the Drover. It's like universally known by people who go to Omaha. You have to go to the Drover. And my old buddy Corey Miller and I went to the Drover one night together. We were out there covering South Carolina. Can't remember what year it was. And now, Corey, former NFL guy, he's a large fellow, and thus he eats large meals. He ordered, if I'm not mistaken, and I've got a picture of this. I took a picture of it. He ordered a 45-ounce T-bone. And he took a before picture, and it looked beautiful. And then he took the after picture. Didn't look so beautiful, but man. And then he topped it off. I remember they had this dessert bar. I think it was a dessert bar. Or maybe you ordered the dessert, but it's huge ice cream sundae thing.
Wow.
Man, now you talk about good eating. That place is incredible. That's why it's been so disappointing that we haven't been back out to Omaha with our team since 2012. So somebody needs, PC, South Carolina, somebody get us back to Omaha. So if PC goes, Chris, I know that's an emotional tie for you. You can go to Omaha.
Oh, excellent. I have never been.
Oh, you got to go.
That would be awesome.
You got to go
awesome
just
trip.
to go, even if you go for a weekend. It's so much fun. That is such a baseball festival. All right, let me finish the recruiting report before we get too far off target here. So I was just talking about Clemson. I ran through some of the official visits we know about for the Tigers. Here's some other notes. Clemson and USC target tight end Oscar Delp coming Georgia. Going to take a unofficial to Alabama June 1st. As I mentioned, Clemson June 3rd and officially USC June 25th. He also has official visits with Georgia June 4th, Florida June 11th, and Michigan June 14th. He is an important recruit, really more so for South Carolina. Well, for both, but South Carolina is they're throwing a lot into this basket. Clemson, I think, feels like they're in good shape to get Jaleel Skinner. This is a kid, his mother is a USC grad. His uncle played for Clemson. He's got Georgia on him heavily, And how often does Georgia miss on a kid from Cumming, Georgia, who's a big timer? So he's got a lot of different pulls going on there. 5-star defensive end Shamar Stewart, 6'5", 236, Opelika, Florida, will be at Clemson June 17th, USC June 18th, part of a series of visits with several of his teammates. They're from Monsignor Prep down there in Miami. Defensive end Tomiwa Durajaye of Middletown, Delaware, set an official for USC June 25th. He also has Arkansas June 4th, Georgia Tech June 11th, Northwestern June 18th. He'll visit Rutgers unofficially June 2nd. He has been to USC unofficially, and Kentucky, his most recent offer. His teammate, of course, is Gamecock quarterback commitment Braden Davis. 2024 quarterback Adrian Passe, 6'4", 205. He plans to visit Clemson June 17th, USC June 18th as part of his June travels. Got to love that last name. Have a lot of fun with that last name if he ends up around here, Follow his posse. Become a member of his posse. USC target wide receiver Dane Key, Lexington, Kentucky, was offered by Michigan. Former Sockasty wide receiver corner Kenny Solomon. I remember him, one of the fastest players in the state a couple of years ago. He was a walk-on at Tennessee, earned a scholarship. He's in the transfer portal, John. See where he ends up. USC offered in basketball 5-star, 6'5", Zion Cruz of Hillside, New Jersey. Another Zion. Not the Zion, but this guy apparently is pretty good. He's ranked the number 4 combo guard nationally in the 24/7 Sports Composite and the number 1 prospect in New Jersey. USC offered 6'10" Christian Reeves, Concord, North Carolina. He also has offers from Lehigh, Tulsa, East Carolina, USF, and Houston Baptist. USC offered 2024 6'11" Steven Solano of the Bronx, according to verbalcommits.com. He also has offers from Virginia Tech, Bryant, and Nebraska. Back to a little more football. Wide receiver Antonio Williams, the Dutch Fork, today revealed his top 15. USC's on the list. Clemson, which is not offered at this point, is not. But as we mentioned, he is scheduled for unofficials to USC Friday and Clemson Sunday, according to 24/7 Sports. Top 15 for Williams at this point are USC, Tennessee, Georgia, Michigan, Ole Miss, Auburn, Oregon, Arizona State, Mississippi State, Miami, Florida State, Louisville, Notre Dame, Southern Cal, and Penn State. USC in particular has made a very strong push for Williams, trying to convince him to stay home and help them build. Tyler Grisham has been on him strongly from a Clemson standpoint. And, he's just waiting to see if the Tigers are going to offer. He's a special talent, apparently. 51 catches, 837 yards, and 8 touchdowns last season. He also plans to visit Georgia, Auburn, and Ole Miss in June. Richard Young of Lehigh Acres, Florida, #1 running back in the 2023 class by 24/7 Sports Composite. And Clemson is in on him, 5-star running back. Recently did a Zoom call with the Tigers, and he's got over 30 offers. So all the big boys are in on him, as you can imagine. C.J. Spiller has been recruiting him for Clemson, trying to relate to him about his days as a star and how coming to Clemson was the right move for him. And so they're trying to develop that relationship. He has visits scheduled for Georgia, Ohio State, Florida, and Alabama next month. He also hopes to visit Oklahoma, and Clemson could be another visit for him in July on that weekend that they do have a live period in July. He's a very talented player. If you look at the pictures of him, he looks like a man out there. 2024 quarterback Jaden Davis of Catawba Ridge plans to be at Georgia tomorrow. 2023 offensive lineman Bryson Sanders of Chattanooga plans to be at Clemson June 10th. He's also stopping at Vandy, Georgia, Tennessee, Georgia Tech, Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, and Ohio State. And that's it. I have mentioned everything now that I have at this point in time. So I'll be the first one. I'm breaking this story. There will be commitments coming in June for Clemson and South Carolina. I am reporting that. So anybody claiming to say, breaking commitments, we're breaking it here first. There will be commitments. Now, who those will be, I could take some stabs at some players here. But you know what? I'm just saying there will be commitments. South Carolina and Clemson, they both have a low number of commitments in their classes to this point. But I expect by the end of June that each is going to add, several more players to their list, I would think.
So over under on both schools.
As far as
5,
how many
6,
each?
yes.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say, maybe more for South Carolina because they're doing official visits.
Right.
And a lot of guys are going to make decisions off of that within a few weeks. Again, Clemson, they'll get some commitments this month, but they don't do their officials until the season. They like to bring their people in during the season to experience games and stuff. But with the way kids are today, there's a few guys coming in for Clemson. I think Toriano Pride could be one that could fall for Clemson here in this month. And I mentioned another one coming in that was kind of on commitment watch. Oh, yeah, Jihad Campbell, from what he's told us, perhaps would be one. But again, Deuce Caldwell, if they were to offer him, Robbie Harrison, if they were to offer him, that they might quickly jump on those offers. But guys like Jeremiah Alexander, #1 defensive end in the country in the class, he's going to take some time. Oscar Delp's going to take a little bit of time. Looks like Antonio Williams will take a little bit of time if Clemson were to offer him to really get in the mix. So I'd say South Carolina, if things fall their way, over under on number of commitments this month with all the official visits they're bringing in, if things go well for them, I would put that figure at about conservatively, I would say 6.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe 6. I mean, I think they could end up perhaps getting McClendon, perhaps getting Kikwata, perhaps getting Copeland, perhaps getting Durajaye after their official visits within a few weeks. That's about 4 right there. And there'll be some others coming in I don't know about right now. Maybe Hickson. I feel pretty good about their shot at getting Felix Hickson, defensive tackle. Clemson, I would be a little more conservative because, again, they're slower at offering people and they like to wait and bring them in for their official visits. So, maybe coming out of June after their elite retreat, you might get maybe 3 or 4 and then carrying it on until the fall for them. All right, that's our recruiting report here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells. It was extra long today. It's our holiday special edition of recruiting, and it was medium rare. 3 days of being, marinated and all that. Just delicious. Yes, indeed. And we'll be back after this break here on Sports Talk.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees. honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology at Florence Darlington Technical College specializes in sophisticated manufacturing services and workforce development training. The SIMT offers rapid prototyping, additive manufacturing, advanced machining, and business incubation services to clients from across the state and nation, plus social media listening services and rentals of conferencing and training spaces. The SIMT also houses an 800-seat auditorium, a conference center that can seat more than 1,200 for dinner or a luncheon, and numerous classroom spaces with state-of-the-art presentation technologies. Visit our website at simt.com or call 866-304-7468 for more information. The SIMT, technology to grow your business.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut of Sports Talk here with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. What words of wisdom do you have for those hitting the water this summer?
Phil, collisions can be prevented easily if every vessel operator fulfills three major responsibilities. One, practice good seamanship. It's the responsibility of every boat or PWC operator to take all necessary action to avoid a collision. Two, keep a proper lookout. Failing to keep a sharp lookout is the most common cause of boating collisions. And finally, maintain a safe speed. Remember, boat safe, boat smart.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
Welcome to Tiny Stories. Today we're with Sonia, who recently won $500 on a scratch-off.
I am such a loser.
I'm so confused.
Ever been to a family reunion?
Not if I can help it.
My dad's family rents a beach house every year. I've always said I can't afford to go.
I am so sorry.
I'm assigned a sleeping bag on the porch with cousins I've never met.
Been there. Even got the t-shirt.
You may be cousin Tina.
No. You know what? That's it for the South Carolina Education Lottery. Tell your story at tellyourtinystory.com.
All of us love sports, but not all sports are created equal. College sports have big budgets, dedicated alumni networks, and corporate sponsorships. Professional sports have even deeper pockets, millionaire owners, lucrative TV and radio deals, and merchandise sales. High school sports have you. Everyone agrees high school sports give us plenty of reasons to cheer. And now's a great time for us to give back. Supporting your hometown high school won't cost you much, but it will go a long way to ensuring the games we love the most are here to stay. South Carolina high school sports. They're good for our kids, good for our community, and best of all, they're good for you.
This message presented by the South Carolina High School League and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
All right. Looks like Larry Penley's career at Clemson is going to come to an end here in the next few minutes. A great career. 38 years as Clemson's golf coach. Tigers are in 14th position, plus 36. They're 12 shots from the cut. They're playing their last two holes. They're plus 20 on the day. Second, well, they're tied with Wake Forest for the worst score of the day. So they except for one player, just haven't had it today. But Turk Pettit, he is in 68, 67, 68, 70 for him. He's at 7 under par. He is tied with Bo Ginn of Oklahoma State, who is on the course, and he is playing 17. And at -6 is Riggs Johnston of Arizona State. So those two are the only ones who have a chance, it would appear, to overcome Turk Pettit. So Bo Gin, he has 2 holes to go, and so does Johnston. Gin is also 7 under, and Johnston is -6. We'll see what happens there. But Clemson is not going to make the cut to the match play. Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Pepperdine, Oklahoma, Illinois, Florida State, North Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Looks like it's pretty clear those are going to be the 8 teams advancing. Louisville's already in, 8 shots back of Vandy. Same with Sam Houston. Wake Forest is 9 shots back and has a few holes to play, but probably not going to be able to mount that kind of a rally. And it's over for Clemson. They are now in +36, +20 on the day. So Larry Penley's Hall of Fame coaching career for Clemson, Chris, is now over. And, what a run it was for him. 1 national championship, numerous ACC championships, numerous All-Americans, numerous players on the PGA Tour. Didn't get it done the way he wanted to. But like he said, man, he's not going to regret anything. He's looking forward to going fishing and hunting when he wants to.
And the beauty is he got one final chance to at least play for a national championship. It would have been probably much harder for him to swallow going out on an off year. But the run they had at the ACC tournament, when he talked about getting into match play, and then things just came together for his team. And then at the regionals, when they advanced on to the NCAA, outside of winning a national championship this year, I don't think he could have crafted a better way to go out.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations to him on a great career. Great season this year for the Tigers. Going to come up a little bit short, but still a great run for Clemson out there. Naomi Osaka withdrew from the French Open. This has created quite a bit of conversation around the world. Of course, she's the #1 tennis player on the women's side in the world. And she revealed today she's been dealing with – she said prior to the French Open she did not want to talk to the press. And people came at it from all different corners of the world. But she revealed today she's been dealing with depression for the last couple of years, that she is very uneasy talking with the media, very uneasy talking to really anybody in group form. It's just something that she doesn't feel like she can do or handle well, and she just wants to be relieved of that part of her responsibilities as a pro athlete. This is something we can pick up on tomorrow night, Chris, but, when somebody reveals this kind of information, I feel for them. And I kind of have an understanding. On the one hand, when I first heard this, I'm like, oh, here's another spoiled athlete now who thinks they're just too good to talk to the media for a few minutes and do their job. When I hear this, I have a different, a second take and a more understanding about her situation. Because we think all these great athletes are superhuman, but they have issues. Some stutter, some aren't really good at putting words together, putting their thoughts together. They're very nervous and they can't handle the extra pressure that comes with dealing with the media, especially the tennis media, which can be really hard on you.
And I wonder too, Phil, and I don't know her background outside of, obviously she's fluent in Japanese, but what about the language barrier that she may have to deal with, where if she gets questions in English and gets questions in French and Spanish and obviously in Japanese, I wonder how much that pressure sort of builds too, that she's uncomfortable trying to answer questions that maybe she doesn't quite totally understand. Now, clearly, if that's the case, she probably has a translator, but you would think maybe that plays into it as well. I don't know.
Well, I think in this case, if you have a player, no matter what the sport is, let's say, and you have a player who comes forward with this kind of situation, then work with that person. Maybe you have the media present them with pre-written questions and let this person, maybe respond in written form or just some way so the media can do their job and they can handle their part of their responsibilities from that standpoint. It can be worked out. There is a way to make it work out. But I do know that in some cases, some media people are very impersonal when it comes to dealing with the people they talk to and can step across that line. A lot of them have made themselves famous by doing so. But I can understand as well how some of those on the receiving end can be taken back and have want to put up a shield and put up a wall against those types of questions, especially the ones. I mean, I've listened to some of these press conferences after some of these worldwide tennis matches like Wimbledon and French Open, U.S. Open. And a lot of the questions have absolutely nothing to do with tennis. You know, they want to dive into your personal life, who you, especially with the women, who are you dating, who are you seeing, this kind of stuff. And it's really, I can certainly understand why they want to put up a wall against that.
I have no problem with that whatsoever, because to me, when you're out performing on the tennis court, the basketball floor, whatever the case may be, your personal life, unless you've made it public, it should stay your personal life. I've got no business knowing what LeBron James does when he leaves the floor to Staples Center. That's none of my business. Same thing here is for her. If they're delving into her personal life, that to me is going a little bit too far.
By the way, didn't appreciate Kyrie Irving stomping on the leprechaun. That will come back to haunt him.
That gets you upset.
That will. Oh, you talk about bad karma? That's bad karma. We'll see you tomorrow.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Press that button.